Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is War 6 of Season 38 and today I'm using Titania, Miles and Archangel. It's a pretty heavy war with Titania, which is pretty exciting. So going on path 7 then 5. So I'm taking this Doom, taking the Peni and the Misty and the Chavez and the Rintrah. Then onto Boss Island, that's Spidey Supreme, Maw and the Knull boss. First up, this Doom. I've had Mr. Fantastic pre-fights placed, so I don't have to deal with his aura. And my game plan really is just go in, heavy attack until I've got some bleeds up, 3 or 4 ideally. Then I'm going to parry or block about 4 times, try and stack up some poisons. I find this just helps with getting neuros up early on in the fight before you have to start baiting specials, and that takes out duration on your bleed so you can't parry as much. I just find it a pretty good way to stack up neuros. So I get 3 straight away, decide to go for blocks, get 4 poisons from 4 blocks. This is great. 3 neuros straight away. He doesn't throw SP1, so that's fine. I'll push him to SP2, another 2 neuros. This is going perfectly. Decide to just let this fight play out because I know that these neuros will finish him off. Just taking that SP2 on the block just to make sure I'm 100% safe. And that was a 25-second fight, and that's why it's nice to have a rank 4 Archangel. Now on to this Peni. I'm going to take it with Titania because she's really good for Peni. I found that out in Battlegrounds. So what I tend to do is just parry 4 lights, keep on doing that and building up my Furies. This means that it's easier to take down the shield because, you know, it's based on how much attack you do. And then I use my Haymaker to push Peni to L2, bait that out, and then I'll take down the shield once I've got some nice Furies up. Having said that, I definitely thought that parried, and I decided to go in and hit. But obviously it didn't parry, so just had to, you know, adapt a little bit, and I decided to use a Haymaker straight away. Build up my Furies, let her use L1, that's fine. I don't have quite as many Furies, so the shield's not going down super fast, but it's still pretty fast. I think I've only done about 3 combos to get that down. I've got my Haymaker back, so I'm just going to use it here. I don't really mind if she uses L1 there, that's why I used it then, because if she uses L1, I haven't had to waste time baiting it. If she doesn't use it, I can carry on just hitting her, and I'll push her to L2 if needed. It's just a either or. And here I activated Haymaker while I had L2 because of the power sting and because of Peni's auto block. If I throw my L2 during the unblockable, obviously she can't auto block it, which is great. Now that I've got a lot more Furies, that shield went down in 2 combos, so that's just really nice for tempo. This L1 finishes it. I had my Haymaker ready just in case Peni did throw an L1 with more than 11 charges. I could have tanked the power burn damage. So that was a pretty straightforward fight. Titania counters the power snack really well, the power sting really well, and she counters Peni really well. She's great for a lot of defenders that you see on that node. Moving on to this Misty fight on the path. I'm just going to be playing Archangel normally. I'm not going to go for any intercepts to take the protection off. I don't think it's that safe. And I know that Archangel has plenty of damage. It'll just mean it's a 50-second fight instead of the 25-second fight. What you want to do is just get your neuros up straight away. Misty has a chance to purify and evade, so I'm just waiting for a second to make sure that parry sticks. My bleeds are up now, it's reducing her purify chance. Get a couple of poisons, and then I can start stacking my neuros without having to worry about the evade or the tenacity. Just taking the L1 on block, because safer that way. It doesn't do very much damage. Here I noticed that my neuros are falling off a little bit, so I just use an L1 just to add some more bleeds and poisons. I make a little mistake there. She had a chance to evade, and I should have parried or re-parried before heavying her. I shouldn't have just done it out in the open like that. It was an unneeded risk, but thankfully it worked out. I've got my Neuros back up, this fight's coming to an end, and it's gone pretty smoothly. Just that one small mistake, but luckily nothing bad happened because of it. So onto this Chavez fight. The main thing you want to watch out for when using Titania against Chavez is that you always want to have your Haymaker ready when Chavez has an L2. You don't want to be dealing with that unless you are indestructible, because it can do some serious damage. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to dash back at the very start so she hopefully doesn't use a heavy, use my Haymaker to intercept. So I trigger Haymaker here, she doesn't go into it, I dash back, take one hit on block, that counts as an intercept and takes the protection off. Good start to the fight, didn't need to do that, I shouldn't have parried there, she could have thrown a heavy. Here she throws one out of nowhere because that's just what her AI is like. Here it doesn't seem like she's going to be using her L1 anytime soon, so I just push her to L2. I know I've got my Haymaker ready. I knock her down to make her more likely to use it, dash back twice, dash in, take it all in the indestructible, and that is the safest way to deal with an L2. And here I'm just using L1 just to keep my cooldown ticking away. I bait out a couple of L1s. My Haymaker's nearly back in case I need to push her to an L2. She used the L1 fine, I trigger Haymaker, and I just take a hit on block, use it to intercept again. Because of the suppression, I know that this isn't going to push her to an L2, it's close, but it doesn't. She uses her L1 and I can go in safely for the KO. That's quite a quick fight with a lot of info packed in, so I hope that all makes sense. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments. Next, with this Rintrah fight, there's a couple of odd interactions here. So buff immune champions can actually still get their buffs neutralized, so he can gain his charges when he fails a buff. Don't ask, honestly, just don't ask. So I'm just going to be making sure that I intercept when I can, using my Haymaker to stay safe, and making sure I knock him down when he gets, 7 or 8 or above charges. That's kind of the moment you want to start knocking him down. I'm also not dexing when I don't need to, so like there, I was just taking the first hit of the L1 on block. I know it does no damage, just to be safe, taking it on block. Accidentally dex there and you see he gets his charges. There I had my Haymaker, so I just figured I'll throw the heavy. If it knocks him down, great. If he throws a special, I'm indestructible and unstoppable, so it's fine, I can knock him down afterwards. So here I'm just thinking, okay, his protection's on, I want an intercept, bang, and use SP3. Now this is the second odd interaction. This one is with Stand Your Ground. Apparently Stand Your Ground can let them block unblockable attacks. This is a bug, I think. But as you can see, it doesn't let me double any of my debuffs, I don't get all my furies, he doesn't stay passive, and I lose all that damage. It's a shame, but we're only about a minute and a half in, he's already down below 10%. This fight's gone fine, even with the bug. And one more combo finishes him off. Titania is really safe for Rintrah. You just want to get to that L3 because otherwise it ends up a pretty slow fight, especially on Mighty Charge, where he's shrugging off your physical vulnerability from L2 anyway. So moving on to Boss Island, I'm going to be taking these 3 fights in a row. First 2 with Titania and then the last one with Miles. So Spidey Supreme, I won't lie, I don't know all of his abilities, I just know that if you don't gain buffs, it's not really an issue. I faced him a couple times in Battlegrounds, so I know what to expect a little bit. It's Stunning Reflect and Polka Dot Power, so I won't gain any power, and I can't ever stun him. What you're going to see me doing a lot is just triggering my Haymaker to get openings. If he throws a special and I have my Haymaker, I'll dash in and use the Haymaker to tank it. If not, I'll just take it on block. It won't do too much damage. Another thing you'll see me doing a lot is hitting into his block whenever he dashes back. This just firstly keeps my furies up, secondly brings my Haymaker back quicker. So here, obviously my Haymaker wasn't ready as he threw the specials, so I just took it on block, used the Haymaker to go back in and get a few intercepts. The fight's going really fast, so I'm not really worried about too much at this point. I just want to make sure I'm not parrying. I don't want to push into L2, so I'm just going to spend some time just baiting out this special. I know that the L2 does a bit more damage and can do burst through block, so I don't really want to be dealing with that. Here I've got my Haymaker ready, so I'm just baiting out this special. I dash in, just take it on block, and afterwards I can go in and punish. Again, it's a pretty safe fight, considering I don't really know exactly his abilities. Titania just kind of shuts him down a little bit. Again, Haymaker wasn't quite ready, so I just decided to power through it. And as you can see, I was just waiting there with the last bit of Haymaker, take a hit on block, and then I can get a full combo in. And the fight's over. Barely lost any health, so I was pretty happy with that. Onto this Maw. So I explained what I do for Maws in the last video. Just for the short version, I'm going to dash back, let him hit my block, charge heavy straight away, he'll hit my Haymaker, and I'll knock him down. There's a bit more of an in-depth explanation in the last video if you want to check that out. And something else I learned from last time is use more of the opportunities to knock him down just in case Maw goes passive. I don't want to be stuck dealing with a falter this time. So there we go, he throws a heavy, my Haymaker eats it up and lets me retaliate. He's knocked down and everything's fine. Again, this Maw is being pretty passive. I'm conscious of that timer. I'm starting to get the falter on me, but he throws his L1 and that's fine. My Haymaker's back, so I could have used that to knock him down, but he throws a special fine. Again, I just hold block and use my Haymaker to get my opening. I throw an L2 to keep him in the corner and my Haymaker back quicker. He throws a special, I retaliate with a heavy, chain that in the corner for a little bit. He's being a lot nicer throwing a special this time. My Haymaker's back, so I just trigger it and I can carry on punishing him in the corner. Use that last bit of the Haymaker to get a bit of a cheeky heavy. Again, he's throwing his L1s really nicely. Just go in with my L2 here because I know that my Haymaker will be back near the end of it, so I can use that for a heavy if needed. He throws a special again, very nicely. A couple heavies in the corner, nearly finish him off. One more L1 and we're done. And the last fight of this war is going to be a bit of a cheese fest. Miles just takes care of this Knull ridiculously easy. The hardest part of this fight is pushing Knull to his first bar of power because he's unblockable. Once that happens, the fight is pretty much over. It would be hard to die with this strategy. So I'm not going to be going for any wild intercepts at the start. If he throws a heavy, I will combo him and go for intercepts, but I'm not going to try and intercept out of nowhere. If he backs off, all I'm going to do is hit his block. So I go for the intercept, he doesn't go for it, backs off a lot, so I just keep on hitting his block. Just got to push him to that first L1. He throws it, dash in, and now I can just heavy him in the corner. You do have to watch a little bit for corruption. Your controls will be reversed, but most of the time you're using heavy, so it doesn't matter. The other time, Knull will probably miss you if you mess up, so don't worry too much about it. One thing to try not to do too much is hold heavy during his L1, because what can happen is you throw your heavy too early and then you're just wasting a little bit of time with your camo. It doesn't matter too much. If something goes horrifically wrong and you're caught without camo and he's got not much power, just repeat the strategy from the start of the fight. Push him back to a bar of power and everything should be fine. So the reason this works is that Miles has a 105% chance to miss when the opponent is unblockable, and Knull is eternally unblockable with all these debuffs, so you're basically just cheesing the whole thing. Here I find myself a little bit in no man's land. Knull wasn't using his special. He does in the end, and everything's back under control again. The main thing is you've got that taunt, so you just want to keep him using his specials, and make sure you know generally what you're doing with the reverse controls. Try not to dash back when you're dashing forward. Watch out for those unblockables, because it might just the unstoppables, because it might just throw you off a little bit. Overall, again, it's hard to see this fight going horrifically wrong as long as you get the start right. To bait his specials, I'm kind of just either holding heavy or standing at him, and that last heavy finishes it off. I've got a lot of health, and this is why I would suggest don't place Knull bosses. It's just too easy to cheese right now. Wiccan does great, but it's not as simple as that. Overall, this was a pretty tough war. We ended up losing. They played very well. We had a few too many deaths for our liking, and definitely going to regroup and do better next time. But happy with my war, and I'm happy with what Titania can do. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.